Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to this tutorial. Today, after a long time, I'm here. In general, actually, I'm created video and I am streaming in the Twitch, but it's most of the Turkish language, Turkish, and maybe you don't understand. It's normal, but I forgot. I don't forget the word and some I try to create some videos in the channel, and I would like to show my technical solution and you. Yeah, and welcome again. Today, what we will learn today topic is Hive database advanced usage. What's mean we will see what's mean and how can I my idea, but if you don't use or if you don't know Hive database in the Flutter site, you have to close this video and try to learn and try to open Hive database website and read them to this tutorial. Hive Flutter, because it will help you to learn basically understand how is the work, what is the Hive database. Actually, I don't want to talk about what is Hive, how to use blah blah, but because you can see or you can find many videos about this usage. But today I would like to show how to implement with more technical code. What's mean technical code? How to create your business structure for when using the Hive. And my have I actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points about this topic. First of all, we will learn how can I how can I implement Hive database manager, and this created for some submodel like mixin and model. Encryption, important point. Operation, other important point. Encryption will gain to your data privacy, and operation will gain to some general make general usage. What's mean like add item, update item, and etc. Types it's coming from Hive core Hive. We just created some basic structure about this topic, and operation I think it's duplicate. I'm not sure. We will check again. And basic data manager, other structural solution. Actually, maybe this topic does not have about database management point, but we need to some basic caching for encryption side. We will see what we need this implementation, and finally we try to testing whole of modus. Yeah, our topic today so technical, and maybe you some confused sometimes, but if you try this repo in locally, you should understand more better for watching. And I'm back the code, and maybe we need to zoom. We need to more zoom. Change the keyboard. Yeah, I think that's it. And it's my coding setup is my public project. I created project my TV channel, and I made whole of codes zero to final to my channel, zero to end in my channels in live stream. You can see the detail, but it's a Turkish. I actually say it. Maybe you can watch with transcript points YouTube videos, but you don't forget about this project. You just focus on the solution, and you will understand what I'm do, and you will implement everywhere, because it's just a basic solution, just a technical solution, and it's not depend the project. It says actually this is my first idea. When I create any structural solution, I always try to any depend any I always try to create without any dependencies, because if you add dependencies like project dependencies, it's always need the project's core code. Like I don't know, maybe basic URL, maybe base point, base endpoint, etc., etc. It can be make more. It could be more, but this time we just focus on this my just database layer, and we will try to understand what I'm doing, and finally we start to test, and maybe you can understand more better. First, we talk about what is first topic, Hive Database Manager. Where is the Hive Database Manager? Yeah, core, operation, core, yeah, Hive Database Manager. Hive Database Manager. I said again, if you don't know how to use, you can listen, you can watch, but you have to learn about how can use Hive database in Flutter side. It's complicated. I try to create to Hive solution instead above Hive project. Yeah, you should know, actually you should know this Hive solution. And back to our coding side. Again, we talk about, as you can see, actually, what's this demo code? I'm removed. As you can see, it's a so simple database manager class, and it's coming from after Flutter 3 version. Final, I don't want the inheritance, this class, like etc. It's not important point. What is our important point? First, you can see we need to we have to start method, clear method, open method, and initial operation. It's extended or it's implementing from the database manager, because maybe next time you want to change your database logic, you just you just implement your new logic with implements with this class, and you can use directly for your project. It's going to this power. It's going to this ability or power your project side. Yeah. And back to coding side again, as you can see, open and initial operation. Open, what do you do? Open create this point. Maybe if you use a Hive this project, especially if you can use or you can know about this, because I said if you don't know, you should learn how to use Hive, other videos or tutorial or documentation. Normally Hive, we look up the Hive code, Hive documentation. If you want to use Hive, you just use this code for initializations for the Flutter side, but I just create some logical operation in this layer, in this code, because I have actually maybe one idea. Normally, if you create a Hive in your project, if you look your core code, you can see it's created for application documents directory. It's mean that your Hive database will initialize your application inside. But I would like to change this logic, and I would like to create some subdirectory, and I will initialize to inside this path, because if you want to delete whole database, or if you want to delete any instance about Hive, you will see you can use this method is coming from core side, hive.delete from this. But if you read this documentation command side, there is a current open box. What does mean? You have many bugs actually. Like, I can draw it. Maybe you want to keep user database like data. You want to keep school. You want to keep, I don't know, car maybe. I actually like and etc. And sometimes or your project decides user database every time using your project, because user database or user operation is a core operation. It have to work it have to work when your project start, because many project has user operation, user side like admin and etc. But maybe you don't have SQL, maybe you don't have car operation. It's what is mean, maybe your car, if you have car, you will keep your data or you will cache data in the car side. And it mean that you don't want to required need car or SQL or other database. If you don't open, or if you don't initialize your this database or this box in your project, you can't remove data if you call hive.delete from this. It's mean that if you want to remove all data, you should open, you have to open, or your box have to open when create the whole data. And I think it's getting some problem in my business project sometimes, and I created this operation for this problem solution, for this about this problem. What this work is, as you can see, I create a subdirectory and I'm removed the subdirectory if user want to remove all data, all Hive database in your project. It will gain the other power, other ability or your project when you delete all data, or when you delete Hive database in your project. It's, I think, important point. You should I think you should implement this logical operation when you use the Hive database. Subdirectory is important, and it's logical operation. It doesn't matter what we have. That's it. I think it's Hive database manager class is very important point in this path, in this way, in this coding line, because in normal, as I said, you just call to init Flutter, but it's not working when to remove all database. If you know where is the cached data in your database, you can use directly, you can use directly access, or you can remove data indirectly, whatever any third-party code. Maybe actually you don't need this code because you are removed all directory with this code. This is the advantage when you use this path. If you use like this database manager, or you can use if any code were your choose your project. And what we have, maybe you can look at this code, but it's so easily just creating directory for Flutter. I'm using Flutter path provider. I just create some layer, get application paths, and I sent it like VB10. It's my alias, and I create a subdirectory, and it's making for the Hive caching set. Yeah, first point is it is. Other point is encryption. Yeah. Maybe after the look operation, we can back the operation logic, encryption logic, because we need to understand what we do for Hive operation. Many database layers, as you know, or you can find many other things. If you use caching or database solution, you have some logical operation. What's mean? Add or update item. It's mean that if you have any data, you can change it, or you can put it, you can edit, or you can change it this data and update it with new instead of update it with coming new data. Or get item. It's mean that you can getting your item for database, and Hive working a key value, like a key value database, and you just keep your data with the key property or any string value. And if you want to remove, like etc., it's working as expected. I can say that every database layer, it's have to use, if you use database manager, if you implement your database manager in your project. And I created this logic with this layer Hive operation, and Hive operation do it this magic operational solution. And as you can, maybe different point is what is work. It's getting the listenable or streaming option when your database or when your table column is changed. What's mean, if you remove the data in maybe this user database or user table or user box, it's going is notified to you. It's I'm updated. You can use anywhere, or maybe you have to some logical operation. You can listen and you can do it some operational business operation after the remove data, after the any database changes or table box changes. Yeah, it's provide this solution. And by the way, yeah, that's it. And other important point in this layer, Hive mixin. As you can see, Hive mixin. This is a Hive point actually. Hive every time work is a box database box, and if you create a new box like user box, car box, etc., you put it the data in the box and you can read the data after the call this box. This is a Hive work structure. And I created this manager layer. I just making key property actually, and I don't want to say every key data, because I'm thinking every your box create a model like user model, etc., and I can say that my box name, when my box name is coming from in general model. As you can see, T getting to work this point. If you say my manager mixin or my model user model, it's your key is a user class or etc., and I'm going to open with this key your project with this box or with this table with this key. It's getting some generic operation. And maybe you want to create or you want to change this point. Maybe you want to say I want to give a key property in my operation or business layer. You just change this logic and you just at some point and constructor this key property, and you can give it this property in this layer. And that's it. What is other point? Clear like it's a general method, and box it's other important point. If your user or your maybe your teammates using this database solution, important point is never know box object, never know any your package implementation and etc. Your teammate or actually you, if you use your solution, you just know it. You have to just know your core operation. What is mean? Like clear. Where is my manager again? No manager operation. You just know like get item, add or update item, delete item, and etc. But if you see your encryption property or box property in your project site, in not core project site, your teammate or you can change any data or you can change any operation with this package in this package object or etc. And it's getting to private. I'm getting to file private object. It's just used this operation layer, and I saved my instance. I saved my instance for anyone want to use on the front side, or actually maybe we can't say the front side. Maybe your teammate or your project, if you use this solution, your project site does not know what do you have, what do you implement your project. Your project just know this point, this method, and etc. It's so important point for this solution. And again, bugs, okay, it's okay. And as you can see, this method is other point is encryption. I think it's so important point. Again, Hive have some operation. Hive is supported encryption, but it's not Boolean support, you just add some coding solution at and this data and your site. If you create any new box, you should keep your any key value with this box. When you open this property, you just give it some data and your database or and your table while creating with this encryption manager. Yeah, it's a supported native Boolean. It's not supported Boolean. You just add this layer, but when want to implement this operation, you need to just some core operational logic. What I'm say, as you can see, Hive encryption class. Let's see about how is the work or how is the work this class. As you can see, we have get secure key. It's working as I just added some coding solution. If I created any byte list, I don't create again. It's some saved point. Other way, if you use encryption, you should keep your key, encryption key, anywhere. Your choice. Maybe you can write your coding side statically, or you can just any file or etc. And but Flutter, what Hive say, you can use the secure context, secure database for Flutter side, because secure database working as a using keychain on iOS side and Android side using secure database. Actually, I'm not remember, but secure context. I was remember it's named secure context. It's mean that you can't access the data if you put this keychain or etc. And if you create a database, if you create a encrypted key in your this database, you can retrieve when you create box again. Let's see this code. Let's look this code. You can see primitive database. We will look what is mean primitive, why I'm created. You will understand. Primitive database read any key if this key if is empty or null. I'm just edit the null. I'm getting to create a new key property, and I'm getting to write this property with this key. After user coming to this code again, I try to read this data. If this data doesn't, it's not null. I'm checking this data again. Actually, maybe we don't need again, but we added again this data. I'm checking, and if it's not null, and your data, if you use encryption, your data have to not null. If null, you should send the exception, and you try to find what's your problem. And I'm getting the key value in my keychain side, or if you put it anywhere, if you put it where you are your project, and I'm return this encrypted or encryption key the Hive site. It's the other important point. It's working. It's mean that if you want to use Hive encryption manager, you should keep your key value anywhere. And Hive say, as I said, you can use secure context. But I changed this logic because maybe I don't want to put it directly in secure context and etc. Maybe I want to change my encryption layer in file. It's not matter for me, because maybe I said I don't want to use keychain etc. because if you use keychain, you have a problem, because if your user remove your application directly, you can't access, or your key value your key value keeping your keychain data. You can't remove when your application installing. This is sometimes it's again some problem. And maybe you want to change, or you want to update your database logic, or you want to use any other database solution for this key security, or keeping your key. And I created this basic abstract layer, and you just create your database. You just create your any logic operation with this database. And as you can see, I created the secure database manager, and it's extend to be primitive database, and I put it your data. And Flutter site is right now using this solution, and I put it my key in the box in the secure context, and I will and I revive this data when try to create bugs. It's a basic solution, but if you use primitive database, you will understand when you try to test, because secure storage just working for Flutter site, your iOS or Android project set. You can't actually, you have some solution, but you can't run into your testing site, because test not has not for iOS project or Android project, only Dart site. You can't access the secure storage. And in this time, if I want to, or if you want to use, if you want to test it your code, and you can't say it, hey my product, or hey my customer, I'm using, or teammate, you can't say it. You can't say it. I'm using Flutter secure storage, and I couldn't test it my code because secure storage just working Flutter. It's not a good solution, or it's not a good sentences or good idea for your customer or your for teammate, because your code always can be tested every time or everywhere. If you won't test it your code, you have some problem. Primitive database solve this problem, because you will see you will see soon primitive database how is the solution, because if while I'm using in testing site this solution, I'm creating the new new database manager, and I put it to just dummy, because it's not matter for me. I just I keep the data anywhere. I just looking this data it's okay for me. This class, it will work. It have to work this like this. And primitive database solution is it? Yeah, it is it. It's a primitive database solution, and it's okay. Encryption okay. What other solution? As you can see, type is the other important point, because we have user, like as you can see we have user, and I create the Hive database for user, and I don't want to add directly, or it's not prefer to directly add the number this point, because maybe you have many Hive object in project, and you can't remember what is your number, what your using number. If you create a like this class, and if you create a constant object in your project, you can sum of the all data in this one point, in this one class, and you can access, you can see what I have, what I implement, or what you change your number in the this project layer, or in this class. Yeah, it's I think important point. Last important point is this layer Hive model mixin. As you can see, I added this mixin because I already said Hive working as a key value database, and you have to create key your any if model, and I'm going to add my model key property, as you can see, like user key. If you put it the same data every time your database or table, you can give it this property in this layer. It means that your every data put it the same key with same key, and it's mean you just have some data, one data, but maybe you have to list, and you put it the every data for this data for your database. In your database, you can say my maybe GitHub ID, as you can say this point in your project. Yeah, it's a other solution. If you have list and you want to keep list data, you just return to ID, or you just, if you want to keep your only one data, you just you have to say you have to use one you have to use some key every data, because your operation it need to work some key for updating or adding or remove. Yeah, this is the other solution. What we have model, we talk about every logical data manager. Yeah, I think that's it. And we going to look up our logic here, our testing side. As you can see, Hive that I have Hive database test, and if you use pet provider, you have to create like this class. You can you can copy this code to your project. If you want to use pet provider in testing layer, you should implement this layer, and it will provide to mocking for your pet provider object. And as you can see, I changed the application document pet. It will open this layer. If you add any data in documentary pets, it's so important point again. And if when you started the project, you just you can use this initialization in the setup layer. Maybe you can't see this point. You just implement this importing this pet. It's after that you can see this class or this initialization. And that's it. And as you can see, I create the Hive database manager. Okay, I will use Hive database. And after that, I use the user Hive operation. Maybe I forget this layer. My operation, my logic, my business layer. If you use any new data, you have to create a new operation class, like user, like car, like etc. Why I added this layer? Because I know that you have some operation. Yeah, you want to keep your data, but sometimes you have the business logic. Maybe you change some user operation or before to caching or etc. I created this layer. Any project, any every keeping data like user, like other data, you have to create this project. You have to create this layer, your project. After that, you can use user Hive operation indirectly with these properties. And as you can see, I getting to some database option, because why I need this. I will keep the encryption data for this project. Actually, you can change or you can update this logic your mind. It's not doesn't matter for me, but it's my solution. It's a primitive solution. Actually, I have many solution about this structural side. But if you start basically, I think it's so better. After use this code, you can implement your business logical operation. Yeah. And let's check out again what I'm do. I'm created demo user and setup. I'm created fake platform. As you remember, we need to keep our we create the subdirectory. Why? Because we need to know where is implement Hive database instance or Hive database object. After that, we will remove that data. And I created Hive init. It's a for testing. And then Hive database initial operation. It's coming from initial site. And let's check out. It's coming from start. But what we will see, as you can see, VB10, and we have data like VB use in the user Hive. It's what is coming name is coming from class, and you can see my data is not readable. Yep, it's because we added the encryption data. And as you can see, if you want to listen this code, after any operation, it's working expected. As you can see, print results. And if you want to remove this data in your project, you can use this method, clear method. It will remove your subdirectory in your pet. It's so safety solution when you remove Hive instance your project. I think that's it. and maybe we can see test primitive database option. Yeah, it's other important point, primitive. Sorry, I forgot this layer. I created primitive database test because I already said if I want to just keep my encryption key anywhere, like in memory, in RAM, doesn't matter for me. I just want to keep data, and I created this layer, primitive database test class, and I extend primitive database, and I added read and write logic, and I created some map list array, and I put it my every data in with this item list. When I want to read data coming from in this list, because it's just temporary. My method does not depend for secure context and etc. Because I already said you can't use the secure context in Dart there, or I couldn't find the solution. Or actually I'm using some solution, but it's not working good, but it's not matter for me, because my class or my solution does not depend to any package or any solution. Right now just working with Hive, but every class have some logical layer, like where is the operation, as you can see, Hive database operation and etc. If you can chase its name database operation, and you just create this code, or you can just use this code for with every new database solution, like either like shared or etc. or SQLite. Your solution will just put it your implementation instead of Hive, and it's working. You don't want to change anywhere whatever your use. Like, yeah, you just change like primitive database, like this class, or you can change this manager layer logic. And I think that's it. Maybe if you don't use, or if you don't know Hive solution or Hive database in your project, maybe you can't understand, or you can't put it, or you can't create your structural solution in your mind. But my advice is you should copy this project in locally. You should try this code, and after that maybe you will understand what I'm doing. It's getting some power, or some not depend solution, because as you know, my solution or database and etc. is not depend to any third-party package. You can every time change this, but just Hive right now depend. But if I want, I can change this logic. I can create database manager, Hive operation, or database operation logic, and after that I implement with the Hive, and or share it or etc. It's my choose, it's my life, it's my choose, it's my solution. That's it for this tutorial. I hope so you can understand what I'm doing in this layer. As I said, it's some complicated, but you should try this solution. You will understand what I'm doing. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and share this video to your friends or your teammates. If you want the contribution, if you want to add some code, you can directly send my pull request in this repository. I can read it every time. That's it. Thank you for watching again. See you next video. Bye bye.